Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please go ahead and subscribe. If you're not new here, thanks for tuning in. Today I want to give you guys some little steps on how you can prevent a vaginal yeast infection. So if you want to hear more, stick around. Preventing vaginal yeast infections involves maintaining good hygiene and making certain lifestyle choices. Here are some steps that you can take to reduce your risk of developing a yeast infection. Keep the genital area clean and dry. After bathing or showering, make sure to thoroughly dry the vaginal area. When cleaning the genital area, use a mild, fragrance-free soap and water. No scented vaginal washes, no scented soaps. You want to avoid using harsh soaps, douches, or any feminine hygiene products that will disrupt the natural balance of vaginal flora. You want to wear cotton underwear over synthetic materials like silk, and you also want to avoid wearing G-strings. Even though G-strings tend to allow for air circulation, the thing with G-string is that that string part tends to pull from the back to the front, and we don't want it bringing anything from the back to the front, right? So we avoid G-strings, we avoid synthetic materials, and we go for the cotton underwears that will help to allow for better air circulation and help to keep the genital area dry. You also want to avoid tight clothing. I know we like to show off our curves and all of that, but you want to avoid tight fitting pants because these tend to trap excess moisture and heat, and that is what the yeast loves, right? This creates an ideal environment for yeast to grow, so you avoid your tight fitting pants or your tight fitting clothing. You want to ensure that you use your condoms to prevent the spread of sexually transmitted infections, right? So you use your condoms or your other barrier methods to prevent the spread of STIs or STDs because these can contribute to yeast infections. You want to avoid excessive moisture. You change out of your wet or damp swimsuits or your gym suits or whatever as soon as possible, because the longer you stay in these clothing, the more likely you are that you're gonna get a yeast infection. Another very important topic is diet and lifestyle. You want to maintain a balanced diet. Evidence suggests that foods that are high in sugar or processed foods tend to promote yeast overgrowth. So you want to avoid those foods and you want to incorporate more of your probiotics like your yogurt, and you want to add more foods with natural antifungal properties like your garlic, right? You want to avoid excess consumption of sugar and alcoholic beverages because these tend to promote yeast growth. We don't want to forget about our antibiotics, right? If you have not already taken antibiotics, it's likely that you're going to take antibiotics at least once in the future, right? So if you're taking antibiotics for a bacterial infection, you want to be aware that it can disrupt the balance of vaginal flora, and this will potentially lead to a yeast infection. So you consult your healthcare provider or you can speak with your pharmacist about preventative measures if you're on antibiotics. If you have a condition like diabetes or a weakened immune system, then you want to work with your healthcare provider to manage it effectively. These conditions like diabetes can make you more susceptible to yeast infections. So you want to follow up with your doctor visits and ensure that you manage your chronic illnesses. It's very important that you change your menstrual products regularly. If you use tampons or pads, It doesn't matter. You want to change them regularly to avoid excess moisture and the risk of infections. Especially if you suffer from heavy menstrual bleed, then you're advised to change your tampons or your pads at least every 2 hours. Now, if you experience recurring yeast infections, that means more than 4 per year, it's essential to consult a healthcare provider, as this could be a sign of an underlying issue, right? And we need that to be addressed as soon as possible, right? Remember that everyone's body is different, so what works for one person may not work for another, right? The healthcare provider can offer guidance and may recommend medication or other treatment options, right? So it's important to discuss your individual situation with a healthcare professional. That's it for this video, guys. See you next time.